Okay? So if you constrain yourself, you put guardrails into your responses, of course, yun yung pupuntahan natin, yung mukha tayong kawawa. Of course, at the back of our mind, we're also worried about yung potential escalation ng hidwaan natin, no? So ano yung proper calibrated response? I think I mentioned to you
What's
about
the Goldilocks approach? Goldilocks, let's put it that way. Yeah.
Okay. Alam mo, I sometimes use the analogy ng basketball, no? Oftentimes, no? So dito, if you play basketball in the West Philippine Sea, and yung katunggali mo is medyo aggressive yung niya, nakikipagbalyahan, nakikipagsanggaan, nagsasahod, okay? Tapos ikaw, yung coach mo, kinonstrain ka, sabi, we are nice guys, we don't play rough.
Decente tayo, decente.
Ang mangyari yan, magiging gymnastics yan, para ikang lilipad sa ere dahil pag sinahod ka na o binalya ka na, you're all over the place. Okay? So, to me, it's a matter of rules of engagement. Immaterial lang kung malaking barko ka o maliit na barko ka. It's how you respond, how you We are not deterring them kasi walang cost eh. Okay, winater cannon ka, walang cost sa kanila yon. Sa kanila physically. Of course, reputation-wise, sa public opinion space, in terms of yung information war, doon yung cost sa kanila. Pero at sea, walang physical cost sa kanila yon. Kaya, kumbaga, sa kanila, okay, so far, so good tayo. Tuloy-tuloy lang yung water cannon nila, tsaka yung calibrated collision nila sa atin. Okay. And I've mentioned this, I think, before. Since last December, I call it mission kill tactics. No? They've started targeting yung communication system, radar system, or yung bridge, yung pinaka-control ng barko. This is not to actually sink yung barko natin, but actually to render it incapacitated in such a way na sa next sortie, hindi mo na magamit kasi kailangan pa-repair eh. Okay?
I see. Yeah. So parang, I mean, you're right. I mean, ipaparalyze mo essentially yung mga ganitong mga resupply capacity, di ba? I mean, it's the status quo sustainable. You know, every other day, magpa-damage tayo, magpa-injure tayo. Parang, I'm not sure how sustainable this is. I mean, I see the PR in terms of making sure that the world knows na bully ang China, which I think everyone knows by this time already. I mean, how much more reminder do we need? But I don't know. I mean, sustainable ba ito? Ano ba talaga nangyari?
Kasi at some point, yung first five mo, pag pinayaan mo mabalya, eventually, bench mo na yung first five mo. Mabuti kung may second five ka o may third five ka, paano kung wala? And sila, malalim yung bench nila.
Oh, so buong liga yung bench nila, 'di ba? Armada sila eh.
Pati nga yung pati yung cheering squad tsaka yung coach nila nandoon sa basketball court. So sabi, ang point ko, it's a war of attrition yan eh. At some point mauubusan ka ng resources doon sa because mini mission kill nila yung barko mo eh.
So in a way, hindi masyadong bobo yung strategy ng China, if I can put it that way. Na in a way, they are paying a PR cost now, but down the road, they may actually significantly degrade our capability to sustain these kinds of resupply missions. Now, moving forward, Admiral, again, I maybe disagree with you, but ang point ko is, should we do also our kind of reverse cabbage strategy? Like yung Philippine Coast Guard, and then around it put Philippine Navy, right? Or something like that, diba? And I don't know, should we also do our own versions of that, even though limitado yung capability natin? I mean, what are we looking at here? Instead of yung mga kahoy-kahoy na boat na ito na private tong iba, diba? Ginagamit ng Philippine Navy, hindi naman Navy mismo, diba?
Well, they are crewed by the Navy, so technically Navy sila. But the reason why ginagamit yung Onaisa May is hindi because yung kahoy siya, but yung niya, yung draft niya. Kasi yung papagpasok mo ng Ayungin Shoal, malalim, mababaw yun eh. So you need a vessel with the capacity makapasok doon na hindi siya magra-run aground. So that's basically the reason, no? I presume that the Navy had an alternative platform na bakal. Yun ang gagamitin nila. Okay? But of course, that already changes. Yung pagkakaano kasi natin na it has to be a civilian vessel or civilian-like vessel. That in itself is constraining us to a certain certain course of action, in which in this case is yung unay sa may boats ang ginagamit natin. Kumbaga kinahuna natin yung sarili natin doon sa ganung type of tactic. Basang-basa na lang China yun eh. Kumbaga kahit natutulog sila, alam na gagawin nila eh.
Exactly, yun nga eh. So, yun nga, like I think that's why I ask, is this sustainable? Kasi we're incurring injuries. God forbid, I know China is still using water cannons pa, but I was told na dalawang Mike Tyson yan or something like that. If I mean, I said, paki-translate yung power yung water cannon into punching power. Parang sinabi nung isa, it's like a combination of Pacquiao and Tyson or something like that. I mean, you can kill a person with that kind of punching power. So, are we waiting for disaster here? I mean, what's going on here?
Basically, Richard, we need to rethink tactics. Okay? And yung tactic kasi is driven by maraming factors eh. Kung simple lang sana yung kasi may politics involved eh. Meron yung escalation issue involved eh. So yun yung nagde-define kung ano yung pwede mong gawin. Tsaka hindi mo pwedeng gawin. Pero siguro ang pinaka-benchmark ko rito ay go back to yung COD War, yung COD, COD War between United Kingdom tsaka Iceland. That was in the 60s and 70s. Wala pang UNCLOS noon. Okay? And wala pang concept ng exclusive economic zone. Iceland was trying to protect yung area niya, and yung United Kingdom, being the United Kingdom, was the dominant force doon sa area doon sa North Sea. Okay? But Iceland won that war. Okay? And it using only civilian tugboats. Okay?
I didn't know this Iceland case study. Have you written something on this, Admiral, or you just came across it this time? Hindi natin ang pag-usapan.
I always go back.
Vikings yan eh.
That was in the 60s and 70s. Yun try mo
You haven't heard about. This is the first time, I'll be honest. Like, wow, that's interesting. Baka Viking boat kailangan natin. Baka mga Badyaw. Padala natin mga Badyaw at saka Moro Brothers natin. Pwede ba yan?
Alam mo yung lumabas doon sa when yung study na yun. Ang winning factor doon, national will. It was not the tactics, it was not the type of vessel that was used kasi ang kalaban nila doon mga British warship eh. Okay? It was national will yung kaya nanalo yung Iceland doon. They fought for yung interest nila. Okay.
Pero yun nga, I'm sure may national will yan kasi mga Vikings yan. Ito na naman tayo. Pamak na naman ako. Lastly, Admiral, I mean, as we speak right now, there's an open call to expel the Chinese ambassador from the Philippines. And ako, actually, we had a talk with the Ronald Llamas just a few days ago na kailangan ba expel yung ambassador. So it's there on my YouTube. You can check it. So na-anticipate natin itong direction of the wind. What is your read of what's going on with China? Itong mga special temporary arrangement, new model, whatever. Again, I know it's a bit speculative, but there's a big picture. Do you think China is kind of panic mode, scrambling? Medyo they're running out of ideas. What's your again surface level read? Because I think none of us have a direct information confidential on this, or if we had, we won't share.
Okay, siguro number one, and naman, I give lectures on political warfare, no? It proves the point that embassies and consulates are actually operating in terms of United Front work activities. Okay? Kasi yung ginagawa niya, those are not typical activities of an ordinary embassy. Those are United Front work activities. So, disinformation, propaganda,
Makapili corporation.
Yeah, yung cooptation of political or key decision makers within yung country that you are deployed in. Those are classic United Front work activities. So outright, they are already violating yung ano eh.
Sovereignty natin, oh.
Kung titingnan natin within yung international rules that govern how embassies and consulates should operate, they are violating it upfront eh. So tama lang naman yung call for yung i-consider yung persona ng grata certain personalities doon sa embassy. Kasi they're actually going overboard doon sa
so this is like the Soviet Union before, di ba? Na biglang pa-expel yung ambassador ganun kasi na-find out na puro palang KGB yung mga nandun, di ba? Yung mga, I mean, you understand there are gonna be intelligence and defense officers, pero hindi yung all-out na, I mean, what do you think about this crazy situation? May mayor dyan sa Tarlac na wala tayong birth certificate until 17 years old siya. And then, I mean, Chinese yung father, may pogo operations. I mean, this is insane. Baka they're all related, no? I mean, again, I know this, di umanoy. Di umanoy. I mean, this looks like something crazy is going on in the Philippines over the past few years.
Actually, it's related, Richard. I recall nung after the Scarborough Shoal standoff, we ran a parang assessment around 2013. Okay. And lumabas doon sa assessment namin that if we have a problem with China in the future, and that was 2013, it's not going to be something like meron kang makikitang Chinese o PLA Marines invading an isolated island. Okay?
Ito na sila.
Ang area, magpapanagpo tayo within our own bureaucracy. Doon ang arena of conflict. The reason being, number one, we are a democratic country, so inherently open tayo. Pangalawa, we do not have perfect bureaucracies. And you know what I mean. Yung issue related dun sa mayor sa Bamban would be looking at yung operations ng civil registrars natin in terms of fidelity, integrity in the way they perform their role or their task as part of the bureaucracy. Meron pa yung hindi pa natin kinoconsider yung sa real estate. Okay? Kasi anecdotal lang because we cannot prove. But yung the possibility of Filipinos being used by Chinese interests as dummies in buying real estate properties around military camps. And that is a factor of yung nebutas yung bureaucracy natin in terms of actually yung implementation of yung real estate regulations natin. So hindi lang yung yung mayor, baka we find ourselves baka yung mga major camps natin. And this is happening in the United States, hindi I think that was in Texas, yung Air Force Base nila, yung property around it was bought by a third party. So pwede yun.
Yeah, so mukhang, again, of course, Admiral Long, we want to make sure na we don't get into kind of xenophobic, prejudicial discussion and all, pero hindi naman tayo na pwede na, mang-mang lang, di ba? I mean, so I talked to, Senator Gatchalian, was it Chinoy himself, right? He openly says, ito mga pogo na to, dapat i-ban eh. Na talagang this is like a gangrene, right? It's eating into our bureaucracy, umabot ang pera kung saan-saan, hanggang ngayon hindi nila masara-sara, hindi nila maalam na saan papunta ito. So that means the enemy is within the gates, right? Like so. Do we need like a sweeping response? I mean, literally sweep. I mean, looks like medyo compromised na tayo because of the Duterte legacy.
No, in fairness naman, it's not because of former President Duterte lang kasi I think it was ongoing before pa. Kasi these are systems.
No, but the Pogos came in big time during Digong.
Yeah, the Pogo, yes. But what I mean is there are already, even before him, there are already systemic gaps or loopholes within yung bureaucracy natin that needs to be plugged. Okay? So, kumaga, nagkaroon tayo ng perfect storm nung previous 6 years. Okay? Meron ka ng gaps, then yung environment, the political environment is conducive to actually accentuating yung loopholes na yun.
I know you're trying to avoid to get a little bit too speculative, but unfortunately, ito pa yung mga gustong-gusto ng tao. Ito yung mga speculative part. So don't worry, I'm gonna bring back si Ronald Llamas to discuss this part kasi siya yung fireworks ka agad. But again, no surprise, right? We saw this disaster coming. We have been warning about this for a long time. At ngayon, mukhang medyo may moment of reckoning tayo. And as I said, as we speak, there's a call for expulsion of the Chinese ambassador for, among others, engaging in disinformation activities. And as you put it politely, for breaching the normal jurisdiction of what an embassy should do in another country. Mukhang medyo next level na ito nangyari. So I think this also brings home itong analogy of the Philippines kind of being the Vienna/Berlin, right? I mean, this is where the new Cold War is happening, right? I mean, we know for a fact the Americans are here, a lot of them, right? So it looks like the Chinese part have stepped up their game also at hindi ito Marites lang.
We are the Casablanca of Southeast Asia.
That's sexier. Yeah, Casablanca. I'm sure they would love it. Yeah. I wanted to say Havana kasi yung Havana naging communist na. So let's not get there. Yeah, I think Casablanca is also another way of putting it, although with a slightly different historical reference. But that's a good suggestion. Yeah, the Vienna and Berlin is a bit too cold. That's a reference for Manila nowadays. Admiral, thank you so much. I wanted to ask more Marites of you, but sabi ko parang ilang ka na yata. So I will pull in someone else to discuss this. But thank you so much, Admiral. Is there something else you want to add on this issue in general in terms of moving forward in AFP modernization, Navy? What are the things that we have to keep in mind? Ano yung mga checklist natin na we have to deal with in the coming years?
I think, Richard, hindi ko nasagot yung question mo on the gentleman's agreement. No? I was not
Ayaw nga pala, sorry. Please go ahead.
Siguro, hindi naman to, hindi to bago, no? Even before, decades ago, that has been always yung practice nila. They'll try to, pag nagka-problema sa dagat, at least for the Navy experience, no, they will always call you up and they ask you what happened. And gano'n. Ang practice kasi namin noon, and I'm not sure kung yun pa rin ang practice namin, ang humaharap lang sa kanila are intelligence officers o intelligence staff. The reason why is trained yun para makipag-deal sa kanila.
Right.
Okay. And almost all engagement or conversation with them recorded yun. Okay, recorded
by
yun.
By both sides. Oo, para sigurado.
Hindi, sa atin. Ang tawag namin yung contact report when you submit that to higher headquarters. Okay, I right. Met so they went to my office, we discussed this. Okay. So naka-report yun. That is yung protection ng organization, saka yung protection ng kausap nila. Everything's above board. Okay. Now, the reason why, if you remember, I think during the former administration, there was an attempt to remember naka-set up sila ng hotline with the Coast Guard. Okay. And they were trying to replicate that with the armed forces. In fact, they want a hotline with NOLCOM, saka a hotline with Westcom, which we objected to. Precisely because ang gagawin nila, diretso sila dun sa operational commander. Pag may problema sa West Philippines.
Alam na this.
Kaya ni-reject yun. Kaya ang naging compromise doon, it should be with the Department of Foreign Affairs yung hotline. Not even DND. Okay? Kasi nga to protect the organization.
I see what you're saying. Oh.
So if we breach that protection mechanisms, of course, magiging vulnerable tayo.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So what do you think about itong audio daw i-release nila ito? Compromat ba ito? Deepfake ba ito? I mean, there are open warnings about deepfakes being used to sow confusion. Kasi ako, Admiral, ang basa ko dito is, obviously mukhang ewan sila to much of the world with what they're doing. But my hunch is this will allow other ASEAN countries na medyo pro-China or ayaw tumulong sa atin, sabihin, yung pala kayo pala mga Pinoy ang magulo ito tama naman yung sinabi ng Odi, yung pala nangako kayong pampagulo. You get what I'm saying? Like it gives excuse for others to remain neutral or take China's side. So nakikita ko may value din sa China yan to gaslight us and come up with this confusion and disinformation.
I will interpret it sa parang political blackmail. Okay? Kasi may escalation siya Diba? Parang striptease meron akong ganito. Okay.
Pero blackmail mo, sino ma-compromise dyan? I mean, if it's current officials, you are actually creating a backfire, right? Lalo sila maging aggressive against you. If it's an ex-official, pinahamak mo pa yung asset mo, di ba? I mean,
depende sa ano eh. Kasi they can make a mistake eh. Kasi ang problema nila, I think they misread us eh. They don't understand how a Filipino mind operates eh. Kasi kung maaring ang tawag namin diyan sa military mirror imaging eh. Yung when you project your own
they project
biases
themselves. Yeah,
to the
yeah.
other
We're like
party.
China, exactly.
So they would be projecting, okay, if I were them, I will think this way and I will act this way. And we're not acting that way. Kaya that confuses them. Okay? So dito, siguro nakita nila, ang calibration nila dito, okay, I will gradually parang escalate. Okay? Hoping, siguro sa calculation nila, bibigay tayo. Kasi rather than suffer yung quote-unquote exposure of that parang deep throat no sa yung that so-called tape no. Whether that, yeah.
This is like mafia stuff. I mean, this is like KGB. I mean, sabi nga ni di ba, General Anyo, pathetic na ito. This is like embarrassing. This is pathetic. I mean, anong gusto nila ma-achieve dito? Kaya nga, the only thing I can think about is, papogi sila sa, I don't know, Cambodians of this world and say, see, mga Pilipinong pampaguli, di ba? Kasi yun yung narrative nila eh. Na tayo ang but everyone is denying it and kasi umaabot na sa isang sitwasyon kung saan, sa tingin ko, wala nang official na gusto makipag-usap sa kanila kasi you don't feel safe eh. They will just make up stories, di ba? Papahamak ka lang nila eh. So, wag na tayo mag-usap.
I think the word siguro is desperate. Kumaga, they're trying to get a handle of they're trying to get a handle of the situation. Particularly yung propaganda war natin. They're trying to get a handle of it. And kumbaga retake yung kasi we're now tayo yung nagdidictate na narrative na yun. Before sila, we are able to wrest it away from them. So I think it's them trying to recover yung control of the narrative. And because of that, it creates kumbaga for them parang mga sa akin major mistake na yan. Yung ginagawa nila. And it actually exposes yung kanilang yung non-diplomatic activities nila sa embassy.
Exactly. I mean, for me, I'm sure this is just a coincidence. Pero parang it looks as desperate as yung people power BBM resign rally ng mga kaibigan natin dyan na I mean, it all reeks of desperation mode, di ba? I mean, this is ridiculous. But what do you think is the best course of action for the Marcos administration? Is it just to allow the Chinese? I mean, should we be Napoleon and say if your enemy is making mistake, just let them, essentially choke on their own mistake, fall on their own sword? Or baka nakakatakot na ito na baka kung naging cornered beast tong mga to, whether it's China or their assets here, baka they'll do something very stupid. I mean, aren't we worried about it? I heard in China some are saying it's time to show the sword, yung expression na ganon. Again, I don't want to fearmonger kasi gawain ng makapili yan. But at the same time, I don't want to be too complacent. So, again, what's the Goldilocks approach here, Admiral?
You have to understand ano yung objective nila muna before you can make a response. And I go by yung discussions ni Secretary Ronald about yung nagkakaroon kasi ng convergence yung ating problem sa West Philippine Sea. Tsaka yung domestic political problems natin. Nagkakaroon na ng convergence siguro parang I would say, for want of better word, parang nagkakaroon ng you can already sense yung parang unholy alliance between the two parties na Okay. Now, if I were in their shoes, if I were in the shoes ng China, and I look at yung what's creating what is the one thing that creates problems for me, it's the president. Kasi siya yung driver ng foreign policy natin tsaka national security agenda. And obviously, I need to look at how do I now influence the president to shift or at least to recalibrate or revise yung kanyang current posture. So yun yung yun yung direction nun na nakita ko.
Right. I mean, as I always said to Secretary Llamas, you never know who's listening to us sa mga marites namin. But it's happening, right? This is what I and Ronald have been discussing for the past year na magkakaalaman na talaga. Nagdamay-damay na to eh. Damay-damay na eh.
Kasi ang ano natin, again, I go back to yung kinuwento ko kanina about yung ginawa namin assessment of 2030. When we look at yung sistema natin, the way we operate sa Pilipinas, ang tinatawag nating center of gravity natin yung presidency. Not the president as a person, but the presidency as yung entire mechanism of government that revolves around the presidency. Yun yung center of gravity natin. And of course, being the center of gravity, yun din yung focus ng any type of political attacks sa ating Kasi pag nakuha mo yon or natibag mo yon, guguho yung entire natin policy making mechanism yung ating ng government natin.
I know, medyo, I think we're reaching a moment of truth as we speak. Medyo grabe ito. Kaya ako, I mean, I know, Admiral, I mean, ako nag-start ako sa West Philippine Sea and all, di ba? And ngayon, wala na. Talagang everyday marites na ako kasi there's no way to appreciate foreign policy if you're not looking at also what's happening inside the Philippines. This is the crazy situation. Thank you so much again, Admiral, for joining us, Admiral Ong. Again, I'm sure babalikan kita in soon, God willing, inshallah, to discuss more itong mga West Philippine Sea developments. But for now, thank you so much, Admiral. Just to end on this, I'm trying something different, like Ezra Klein style. Do you have any recommendations of what should people read from your works or anyone's work na sa tingin mo helps them better understand itong predicament ng Philippines at anong mga kailangan natin gawin sa West Philippines? Are there like 2 or 3 articles or books that you suggest for our viewers? Including yours.
Not from my own work, no? Siguro I mentioned kanina, and maybe you may try it after this session natin. Try to Google or research on the United Kingdom versus Ireland CAD War. Kasi that is parang reflective of yung situation natin ngayon. You have a small power versus a major power trying to battle it out in a contested maritime space. And you have a small power winning it out. How did they do that? Siguro that could be yung lesson natin.
Thank you so much for that, Admiral. Are there any articles of yours that you recommend, in recent articles that people can check?
Siguro it's in Rappler naman I have previous articles on the West Philippine Sea tapos on the trilateral.
Trilateral at saka yung asymmetric. Kasi one thing I appreciate about this yung discussion natin, let's learn something from Ukraine or I don't know, even Houthis, no? How they use drones and other things to equalize the field, no, with much more powerful and advanced countries. Pwede din natin gamitin yan. So thank you so much again, Admiral, and talk to you soon. Mabuhay po kayo.
Okay, thank you, Richard.
Pleasure.